Carroll not back, though. Pete Carroll is not going to be back with the Raiders in Vegas. One and done for Pete Carroll, which just feels like the Raiders continuing to do things that nobody understands what the hell they're doing.
No, it does not make sense at all. If any organization thinks that they can bring a head coach in when your organization is already one of the worst, and think that within one calendar year, one draft class,
with a flawed roster,
no, I'm not going to say no quarterback, but come on now. Why would you think I can turn poo-poo sauce into ketchup? I cannot turn whatever this is into something that's edible,
First of all, I love, you could see the wheels turning in Sua's head when he's like,
how would I describe this to my daughters?
How do I phrase this?
Yes.
B, I'm trying to come up with either a phrasing for bleep, or some type of bad tasting sauce, and I can't think of a bad tasting sauce. I'm caught in about three
tartar
different
sauce
directions.
would have been too good for them because I hate tartar sauce, but it's still edible to some. The Raiders this year were not digestible in any format.
And by the way, this is a 3-year contract that they're voiding. Not voiding, but they're firing him. He has 2 years left on his contract.
This is the thing that I do not get with the Raiders and at all with Pete Carroll. He was in his 70s when you hired him. So clearly you had no intention of him being your forever coach. So you have to be bringing him in for a specific reason. The reason I assumed at the time, and this would have made total sense, you are bringing in Pete Carroll to spend 3 years resetting your culture. So your hopeful forever coach who takes over after Pete Carroll is actually stepping into a good situation.
Yeah.
If the goal of bringing in Pete Carroll was fix everything, not just in 3 years, but in 1 year on the field, bro.
Yeah.
Did you really expect Pete Carroll to sprinkle Seahawks and USC pixie dust on that roster and make everything better?
The Raiders could have spent $100 million and brought Nick Saban himself in, and he would have won 4 games max.
Right.
What is the plan here as the Raiders organization? What do you really want for the team? Because if you wanted to win now, if we're being real, all those draft picks, you would have started shopping those draft picks to meet your needs immediately, save the top ones, and traded a bulk of those from the 3rd to the 7th round. I think they have 6 picks. You would have traded at least half of those to get one play if you were really trying to win this year.
Right. And I'm seeing right now a lot of people in the Mason and Ireland YouTube chat, I'm assuming a lot of Raider fans, saying to both of us, so you guys would have kept Pete Carroll? You think Pete Carroll did a good job? I'm not saying Pete Carroll did a good job. I'm saying, what did you bring him in
What job
for?
was he supposed to compete?
Right, exactly. What was the goal of bringing in Pete Carroll?
All right, so if the goal was you want to win 10 games, if your coaching search out there is to turn this bad team into a 10-win team, and you say you scan everybody out there and you pick Pete Carroll, that's the bad pick to make. If your goal was to have a long-term build, it's also
I'll
the
tell
bad
you this.
pick. So
I'll take it a step further. If your goal was to win 10 games, that was a bad goal.
Yeah.
You were incapable of winning 10 games. That's not a realistic goal, regardless of the coach. If you're doing that, you're setting up Carroll to fail from the beginning.
Are we also not taking into account that Bowers, your best offensive player, was hurt?
Yes.
Are we not taking into
best by far?
But 50% of your offensive production was not available.
All right, so here's why maybe you do this, though. If you're going to draft a quarterback, you want to match up coach and quarterback. Because we've seen with Caleb Williams, his first year is a wash because he had a coach they were going to fire anyway.
Sure.
So say, for example, the Raiders are going to draft Fernando Mendoza #1 overall this year, and you know that Pete Carroll isn't your coach of the future. Why not fire him now and line Fernando up with coach you want to coach him for his career?
My response to that would be, why did you not then look for your forever coach last year? Because if you had any realistic expectations about this team at all, you would have known you're likely going to be in the position fairly soon
right now.
Right. To draft that Fernando or whoever, that like your forever quarterback. Look for your forever coach then.
Which is why firing him doesn't make sense, because it isn't due to you not winning enough, because you never were going to win.
Right.
So who was going to fill this spot in? Was Pete always a placekeeper? If so, why not give him a 1-year deal? And if he does well, extend him.
Or hire him to be your GM.
Yeah, something, but
Like a front office job. Like that's, I assume, and at the time, this is why I thought Pete Carroll was a good hire, and also why I was like, wow, the Raiders are actually doing something smart for a change. I'm like, clearly they're bringing him in to reset the culture. This can't be about the record.
no.
If this was about the record, like, what the hell?
It's the same with the Jets when they were like, oh, they might get rid of their first-year man. I'm like, why? Because what example are you showing any coach that takes this job? Hey, no, it's a dumpster fire, and no, I might throw you under the bus of this dumpster fire. Within 1 year of you taking this job, which might reset your coaching clock, now you got to take a DC job somewhere else, and you left where you were when you had a good thing going, all because you wanted to be a head coach. Don't be Mace thirsty. Don't jump at something. Don't jump at something.
Don't treat this job like it's Kato Kalin.
Hey. All I'm saying is, why, as the Raiders, what is your plan here? Because any real good head coach, if you really wanted him, you're showing him, I don't know if I trust you. I don't know if I want to be there, because I'm just going to get the blunt end of the stick when it doesn't work out in an unrealistic time frame. That doesn't make sense.
Do you think, like, what, if at all, do you think Tom Brady's presence has to do with this? And I don't mean like, did Tom Brady make the decision to fire Pete Carroll? To me, the reason I'm asking is, you're theoretically bringing in Tom Brady because he understands something about winning. And it just feels like everything they did with Pete Carroll, or maybe even Tom Brady, whatever, it's all cart ahead of the horse. Like, they expect they can just start winning if they have enough, finger quotes, winners in the building.
It's because Tom Brady never struggled. I don't think he was ever really on a bad team. He was never in a place in which you had to go through the entire rebuild. Yeah. It also seems as if he's nostalgic or backward looking as opposed to forward thinking. And I think that's something that happens when you're so great in your job. It's hard to think about what you could be better at.
But it's
and what
like
could be
Jordan handling the Hornets. It's like Jordan, you are good enough and have played enough basketball to know the guys on this team aren't gonna push the needle. No, I'm sorry. No, I don't care how many times Jordan and his yellow eyes are sitting at the end of the bench. Him being there is not going to make this team play better. So drink some water and draft some better players. Trade for some better players. Pay out bid for other free agents.
Get the best GM in the market.
All I'm saying is, this entire idea that Tom Brady's going to come in and solve all our woes. What? Tom's not throwing the ball.
Jordan is so sauced during those Amazon
Come on
interviews.
now. Come on now.
So hammered.
Clearly, he's got something going with his kidneys, too. Like, he gotta go to the
one
doctor.
interview that is cut up into 18 different interviews.
Well, he had some healthy amounts of tequila going in that interview, because he looks faded. If this is all the same interview, this was one big, long
and I'm not
session.
one to judge. There's different types of faded now. But, that I don't think that was one.
It's very hard to watch the Raiders, but you said do not draft Fernando Mendoza, and I fully disagree with you. So explain to me why you think they should not draft Fernando Mendoza.
Because the first pick goes to a generational talent, not a talent you're hoping works out. Like, the first pick, I mean, you guys did draft Jamarcus Russell. So
been down this road before.
So you're getting ready to do it again? All I'm saying is
you're going to say he's going to be Jamarcus Russell.
No, I'm not. I think it's hard to be Jamarcus Russell. I'm saying Fernando Mendoza has not shown any of us that he is a 400-yard, 4-touchdown, can sling it from far hash to far, from near hash to the far sideline consistently under pressure, week in and week out. To me, even though he's won the Heisman in a weaker Heisman class, I don't think that's me being,
no, that's fair.
I think that's fair. He won the Heisman because he is the best quarterback in college football this year. Is he the most talented quarterback that you can get or that's available in the league and or going into the draft? I don't think so.
Let me reframe the question. Let's just say Mendoza, for whatever reason, slipped to the second or third round.
I'm pulling the trigger immediately.
Okay, I think so. What you're specifically saying is first overall, you can't.
That has to go to a generational talent.
So will he, let's say the Raiders listened to you and they didn't take him. Will he go in the first 5 picks? Even the
Yes.
first, so yes, no matter what, he's a first-round pick. He's a top 5 pick.
But Show was a top 10
What
pick.
Sue is
He's
saying
not
is
a top 10
what
pick.
Sue is saying is let somebody else make that mistake.
Sure,
Exactly.
but you don't even know if. Okay, I understand what you're saying, and
Well,
I
there
think
are better
there's-
scenarios for him
there-
to succeed.
There's always better scenarios because the Raiders scenario is not a good situation right now. You don't have a head coach, you have no offensive line, you don't have that many playmakers outside of Genty and Bowers. So and you don't have a lot of
And Crosby wants out.
Drafting a quarterback to get him killed, though.
Right. So you'll get him killed, but then that's why it's a little bit up and down because you still have to go out and draft a whole bunch of offensive line.
O-linemen.
You also have like $60 million this offseason. I don't know if that's the exact number, but
They have $100 million.
Yeah, they got a
They have
ton.
$100 million
Yeah,
cap space.
ton of cap space. Go and get offensive linemen. Go get veteran offensive linemen to block him. I don't care who you are. It could be Kenny Pickett. If you have a good offensive line, you're going to look pretty good. Sam Darnold has a good offensive line. He looks pretty good. That's how it's always going to be. So if you draft,
But why pay?
Because he's on his rookie deal contract, and it's very cost controlled for those first 4 years, where you can still spend out and go and spend money everywhere
But you
else.
can do that by drafting all O-line and defense, and then getting a placeholder quarterback who you just said, if you have a good O-line, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is because the O-line can at least allow him to throw the ball. Get you a placeholder quarterback. See if your O-line and defensive draft picks are guys that are going to stay, because then no matter what you do the following year, you're going to be Raiders are going to be a top 10 drafting team next year.
Most likely,
no matter what.
Okay, so you're saying get offensive linemen with the first overall pick.
And
you watch way more college football than I do. So is there I don't think you know every single offensive lineman, but is there an offensive lineman that's a generational talent out there that's going to be the next great left tackle, the next great right tackle?
It's hard. That's hard to say.
Yeah, because you can't tell every
lineman, you don't know until they get to the league, and you're like, oh no, that's a guy.
That's the same thing as a quarterback. You don't know what's going to happen.
But I do know one thing. He will get killed getting drafted by the Raiders. And with no O-line, we've seen bad organizations take good quarterbacks and make them look awful because they can't protect them. And then 4 years into their career, we're calling them busts. They get traded to a new team who they are like, oh, there he goes. He's sent away. We'll never hear from him again. And then they blow up.
Well, the difference, too, also is if you take someone like Mendoza, who is, we all can agree, would be put in a tough situation with the Raiders right now, maybe not have the line that he needs, you're going to be put in a position where in 3 or 4 years, you have to make a massive financial decision on him without ever having seen him in the ideal setup. You can reverse engineer that much easier and safer with linemen than you can with a quarterback.
Even if Mendoza is the guy, we're not going to see it his first 2 years because he's either going to get injured or is going to be running for his life. Show me a quarterback that can do. Caleb Williams was sacked almost like 50 times last year and threw for 3,600 yards and was considered
this year.
And was considered a bust. He was considered a bust for throwing for 3,600 yards, getting sacked 50 times. What do you think is going to happen to any quarterback on the Raiders right now?
Because of what you said earlier, that they have $100 million in cap, go get your offensive linemen. Go get veteran. You can actually overpay a whole bunch of offensive linemen and just shore up that line. Make sure you have the biggest
3 years.
For 3 years, yeah, sure.
That's not enough time for Mendoza. Like, if I go and take $100 million,
that's when you go and you draft. And so part of your draft is offensive linemen and then playmakers and a little bit of defense as well. You need wide receivers. Outside of Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, you have nothing. Betch is okay, and so is Trey Tucker. You need receivers. So draft some receivers, draft offensive linemen. That should be your primary concern for this draft. Get a good offensive-minded head coach, get a good offensive coordinator and a good defensive coordinator, whoever it's going to be, and draft offensive line, wide receivers. That's what you need.
I would rather have a foundation there. If you're looking for a young forever quarterback, I'd rather have the foundation there that you can judge him off, as opposed to bringing him in when you don't really have the foundation and pieces to put around him. And then you may end up in a financial position of having to re-sign the big quarterback money without then having the type of cap space to really put the pieces around him that you need to succeed. Like, if you draft Mendoza, given what the Raiders have right now, you need to accept the fact that you may be making a big financial decision blind.
Because if you're going into that with the idea of we're going to wait these 3 years after we drafted the quarterback and try to find O-line pieces and receivers that work, and over these 3 years, if it doesn't work and each year Mendoza is getting hurt or getting hit or not producing, year 4 is going to come and it's go, Are we franchise tagging this quarterback who has either gotten injured due to us or hasn't been able to be as productive as Bo or Caleb or his
I would
peers?
also. Here's the thing. You mentioned too, like bringing in You talked about bringing in veteran O linemen,
right?
That you
got
can
money,
put in, right? That you can put in right now with Mendoza. Let's just say, even if that strategy works and they keep Mendoza upright, you're still going to be in a position where you eventually have to bring in younger, less experienced linemen to protect Mendoza, and then you might end up having him take a step backwards because he's working with less experience.
Well, that's why you still draft offensive line. But can we all agree at least that the head coach is the most important piece of all of this? Yeah. You have to have a head coach or an offensive coordinator that knows how to work with quarterbacks.
Did you like them firing Carroll?
I didn't mind. It was past. It was he wasn't the right.
Shouldn't have hired him.
They should have never
3 years to begin with.
Right. Yeah. He was supposed to come in and change the culture, and the culture just didn't really change.
Do you think you can do that in a year, though?
No. I mean, he needed all 3 years, but also, I mean, is he going to stick around after that?
No.
And do you want to give him a brand new quarterback? I think you need somebody. We were talking about with Sedano today. Brian Dable is very, very good with quarterbacks. He is fired. You bring him in as your offensive coordinator and to work with Mendoza and give him a competent offensive coordinator, and you get a good offensive line. And the head coach, like Ben Johnson, that was the right head coach for Caleb Williams. Mike Vrabel was the right head coach for May. So these things, you have to get the right guy there.
They also got pieces for May and got a new OC for May and decided to
spend the most money in the offseason of any other team.
And they have $100 million to spend the most money of any other team.
Year one with May, they're like, oh, no, this is a guy. Like, thank God we got a guy. We were right. Now let's focus on everything else.
So we got to go and get the guy.
I don't know if Mendoza...
He might not be, but I'd also who's a guy in the NFL right now that is that guy that will leave their current team to come here?
When Drake May,
not Kirk Cousins.
It's not.
As a comp, when Drake May was still in school, did you have a better vibe about him as potentially being a guy than Mendoza?
And I'll be honest, I felt kind of the same about Drake May as I do Mendoza, but we can go back to Drake May in college and see him throwing for 300 and something yards, 5 touchdowns in a game. We saw him slinging it at North Carolina. It wasn't a system quarterback that was surviving off a good defense. And I'm not saying Mendoza's surviving off a good defense. He just happens to have a great
offense too.
Defense. However, we saw with Drake May, the talent jumped off the film with Drake May. With Mendoza, I think it's more team dependent. If you're the Vikings, if the Vikings happen to have the same record as the Raiders right now, same exact team, I'd say yes, draft Mendoza immediately. He's a plug and play for yourself. You have your O-line. You have the receivers. You have 2 running backs. The defense is there. Y'all get turnovers. Mendoza there, great first pick. J.J. McCarthy? No. And to me, with the Raiders, it's kind of a similar situation where you're taking a chance on a person that's not necessarily a generational.
Okay, so what do you think of this? So Max Crosby left the facility earlier. They told him not to play the last game. He really wanted to play, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. A lot of my friends that are Raider fans want to trade Crosby for picks, or saying he's going to want out. Would you actually? I say no. Do not move him. He can be generational there. He's one of the best defensive ends that there are out there. He's going to get to the quarterback. He's a difference maker on the defense. He's a monster. Would you trade him for picks to help with this team, or trade him for something, or like playmakers?
No, because
I agree with you.
I have $100 million even with his contract. Didn't you guys just extend him or give him money like a year or two ago?
Yeah. No, he is fully extended.
Even with his contract paid in total, I have $100 million. If I'm trying to win, again, that's why y'all fired Pete, right? If I'm trying to win, why the hell would I trade a top 5 defensive player in the NFL who doesn't get injured, who doesn't miss games? All he wants to do is smoke Russian creams and sack the quarterback. I want him on my team, and I can shape my defense around him. So trading him, you don't need any. You got 10 picks in this draft. You can trade those for other pieces if you need to.
And let the situation cool down. Like, everyone needs to take a beat. Everyone needs to relax.
And stop firing coaches.
Yes.
Well, yes, stop firing coaches. That's why this has to be the right coach. I really wish they got Ben Johnson last year. That's what I wanted.
Shula? You're going to get Shula?
Yeah. I mean,
he would be the guy.
He would be, as long as you can get somebody. I mean, do you really believe that this defense is really that much better than it was last year under Chris Shula?
I think
under
your
Raheem
defense
Morris?
is Crosby and White.
Yeah.
That's the defense.
Yeah,
And you guys hate White, and you guys don't like White.
I do. But like,
Most
a
Raiders
lot
fans
of Raider fans
do
don't.
not
Didn't he have
White.
like
He broke
100
the
some?
Raiders. He broke the Raiders
single season
record for
sack
tackles
record.
in
Yeah,
this-
tack record.
And they're saying, "Oh, tackle merchant." You do know linebackers.
You have to do that.
Job number. Speaking from a guy who played linebacker, job number 1, tackle. That's like the first thing you have to do.
Undersized linebacker.
Yeah, undersized. It hurts a little bit. So a guy that's leading his team
No,
and tackles
totally
is
with you.
impressive.